Last night I wanted to write another app indicator for some things, and I realized that I keep doing this too often. And the API for writing Python app indicators is complex, and it's hard to remember, and you keep having to look at your previous code because the documentation is nearly non-existent. So what I did was I wrote this one indicator and put functionality in it so that one may add items to it via a config file, the entry point to which is also coded in the indicator. So I'll just demonstrate it to you. Ideally you would have this in the startup so that it loads when you log in. So as you can see, this thing came up. This already has some commands in it: pause torrents, pauses all active torrents, resume torrents, resumes the paused torrents that are not completed. Reload Euclid is a reload thing for my Raspberry Pi. And this is the thing that you need. It's the configure button, right? So once you click this shows you the config file. It's in the home directory. It's a .custom menu directory, and that's where the file is. And the first time the thing runs, it automatically makes a directory and puts this example stuff in it so that you can have this as reference. But I'm just going to tell you. So as you can see, this is the title that you see here. This is the icon, and this is the command that is run when you click on the menu. So I'll add a new one. So for that I already have a program ready. So this thing is just a Zenity window, and it will show some text, and it will show the argv0, so the file name of the Python script that you are running. So I'll just run that. It's in home, so I'll just py, and it will close in 5 seconds. Yeah, so this is the thing. So I'll put this as one of the items, right? So it's in home, so I'll write demo command equals these symbolic path names will work, and icon equals, let's look for an icon. I have some icons here. I'll use this. This is also a script. It copies the path to whatever we have selected. These scripts, they work nearly the same on all major browsers, at least the GNOME based ones like Nautilus, Nemo, Kaja, Thunar. It works on and this indicator works on KDE, it works on Mint, that is Cinnamon, it works on Unity. This is Mate currently. So yeah, it will work. I'll put another one just for, so say you know a line, perhaps say you want to open a gedit, the text editor. So I'll put a gedit thing here, command equals gedit. If it's in the path, then you don't need to provide a thing. The icon is, you don't need to provide a path. The icon is not mandatory, so you can ignore it, and you do this, right? And since example.py is already there, you have to make sure that this file is executable, so chmod plus x, right? And then what you do is, since it is saved, you reload it, and now see the demo thing has come, gedit has come. Click on gedit, and okay, sorry, typo in there. Yeah, no, it's right. And the demo will work as intended. So the whole deal is that you can add more stuff here, like things you want. What happens is, if you're a Linux user, you want to automate things. Sometimes you want an entry point that is not the terminal, and putting icons on desktop, you usually have the browser on, right, or the text editor. So if you want something, it's much easier to have a, like earlier I used to have an indicator. This is the problem, I had so many indicators, and I didn't have any more room, and I didn't want to edit the Python code of previous indicator. So this thing gives me a very clear entry point, right? It's a config file, I just need to write the and everything else happens programmatically. It's pretty cool. So like I had one which would take whatever is in the clipboard right now and post it to pastebin and open a some pastebin service, ghostbin I think I was using, and it will open a window or a tab with the link of the ghostbin paste. So it was quite useful when I was pasting stuff. And so I reinstalled my machine, I changed the distro. So now I wanted to put all that back in, so I realized that this is needlessly tiring. So I made this, and with this you don't have to make another app indicator ever again unless you wanted anything. Right? You can do some slight changes to the code and possibly add sub menu functionality, but I didn't need it, so I didn't make it. To remove entries, all you need to do is delete the thing, save it, reload, and it's gone. So it's pretty simple that way. That's about it. I'll put the link to the GitHub repository in the description, and a few links to resources on how to use app indicators. One thing to keep in mind is in Mate you have to manually enable indicators once, because they changed the API, and they're probably trying to deprecate it, but nobody knows for sure. But the new API, there is no documentation at all. I mean, the documentation for this is pretty rare and hard to find, but the new thing they have made, there is no documentation. All the already written applets and indicators are with using the old API, and the new ones are only C. And you could, if you want to, you could try and guess the bindings, and it sort of works for graphics things, like when there was the shift to GTK3, that then too we did the same thing. We sort of guessed the bindings when there was no documentation. Later there was documentation, but you can try to do that. But see, I'll just go through it a little bit, you'll get the idea. So the main problem you will face is like which GTK version to use, because some of the tutorials and resources out there will use GTK2, some will use GTK3, so it's a general pain. So this is the GTK that came pre-installed, I didn't do anything, so this is the thing that was already working, so that's what I used. Right, so the whole deal is that this is the indicator. You make the indicator, you give it a name, you give it an icon, and give it a this thing, and you set its status to active. And this is what, and it needs a menu for it to show, otherwise it won't show. So the menu is a set menu method called on the indicator object, and you pass a gtk.menu to it. So this build menu method returns a menu. So the menu is gtk.menu, and then I just go through the config and find out if there is an icon, then make an image item. So this is how you make an image. So this is a build image item, because I make a whole lot of these. So for that you make an image menu item, then you make an image gtk.image, then you insert the icon inside that inside a pixel buffer, and then you set from that pixel buffer into that image, and then you set the image to the item, and then you turn the item, and this item is appended to the menu, right? And this is pretty much all you need to do in for all the things. For sub menus, it's one extra step, it's basically another cascading layer of the same thing. So that's there. And then you can bind click events, which is activate, to functions or methods, and you can also pass arguments to that method. So the source is the the thing that was clicked, so it probably has the name of the entry that was clicked. But since you can pass methods, I just pass arguments, I just explicitly passed arguments, and you subprocess the command, and that's it. So this is the deal. I'll put in the link to a tutorial which is almost right, so you can, it's almost right. It wasn't working completely for me. There were certain things that weren't working. So what you should do is take that tutorial and read this and find a middle ground. I don't know. If you have trouble, then perhaps you can comment on the video and I'll check it out. That's about it. Yeah, this is the main loop. So after everything is done, you have to enter the main loop so that the thing runs, and that's it. You need Python app indicator for this. Another interesting thing I told you at the beginning was these torrent pause and resume things. So how these work is, Qubit torrent has a web UI, and there is a Python Qubit torrent library. There is a Qubit torrent library too in PyPy. Don't use the Qubit torrent library. Do a pip install Python -Qubit torrent, because the other one doesn't work. And then you can interface with the web UI of Qubit torrent and give it commands, get information, get status, do lots of stuff. It's good. I mean, you want things to be programmable, right? So that's about it. That's all.